people on the planet, you might be lucky enough to bump into the one person you want to spend the rest of your life with.
Oh my God.
So this is the life I've forgotten. This is just the beginning.
Swiss Army Man is directed by Dan Kwan and Daniel Schnert and stars Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe, and was the movie that won the Director's Award at the Sundance Film Festival. And I finally saw this movie after it was out for maybe around a week in wide theaters, and I saw it at my local indie theater mainly just because that's really the best place to see such a random movie like this movie. And to just dive right into this, this is probably one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen in my life. It's about a man who is pretty much a motorboat with his butt, can chop wood down with his arm, spews water out of his mouth. I'd say that's pretty weird. Pretty much the first act is Daniel Radcliffe just farting over and over again, which is the weirdest way to start a movie. It was a really intriguing beginning, but it will be very offsetting to most. But for me, this movie was literally a masterpiece. I loved it. It's pretty much a story of Daniel Radcliffe as a talking corpse and Paul Dano as a person who got caught in a storm and was stranded on an island. And they pretty much run around, for one, trying to survive, and two, just making all these beautiful things out of trash. Like in someone's phone, I'm not going to spoil who, because that's actually a decent plot twist there. But they have this girl on a phone wallpaper, and it is Mary Elizabeth Winstead from 10 Cloverfield Lane on the wallpaper, and they try and recreate this scene on a bus just to kind of show the Daniel Radcliffe's character how to feel love and how to be a person again. It sounds stupid, but they carry this thing on pretty much throughout the entire movie. It's about trying to get Daniel Radcliffe to understand the reason of being a human. And Daniel Radcliffe is kind of like the 5-year-old that is a grown man. He is written as a 5-year-old and he acts like a 5-year-old, and it's just hysterical. And not only being one of the most visually striking films of the year, this is one of the best written films of the year. Surprisingly, it didn't win any Screenplay Writers Awards at Sundance, which is totally fine because Directors Award is one of the most prestigious, but Swiss Army Man comes out on top out of so many movies that have come out lately. The acting, the writing, the cinematography, the lighting, everything about this film is just spot on. And this movie is not subtle, it comes out at what it is, and if you don't like the very beginning, you probably won't like the entire movie because it's just what it is. As I said, one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen in my life. Swiss Army Man is pretty much a Swiss Army knife. He can do a ton of stuff with just his body. If you think about it, it's kind of a simple scenario here. But it's the way that this film is executed and written that is just mind-blowing. It's creative, it's adorable, and downright lovable as well. And it's not like they use much CGI in this. It's all practical for the most part. And just some of the artwork that is actually there, just made out of just trash, is so cool in the film. Because not many movies are that dedicated. You can tell that directors and everyone on set were just completely dedicated to making this a hilarious, fun, and goofy movie, and that's what it is. But if you like movies like Pitch Perfect and Mean Girls and just sort of like run-of-the-mill movies, which is totally fine, you won't like this one, because the only reason that I probably like it and didn't have any issue with it is because I like weird movies. I like random indie movies because that's my favorite type of movie. This movie hit every mark with me except for one. Pretty much the last 15 minutes will ruin so much. For the 5 minutes before the final 15, it is hysterical. I was laughing so hard at this little snippet. And it's very unrealistic. It shows that they go all these lengths and some things are closer than you would think and it'd take people 10 seconds to get there type of thing. It's just very unrealistic and insanely disappointing that that's how it ended. So without further ado, I'm going to say that Swiss Army Man is no doubt the best indie film to come out this year and worthy of an A. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am hoping to maybe see The Purge election year, I'm not completely sure, but I really want to see Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, So cross your fingers for that. And I will have a movie review for The Mind's Eye coming up, an upcoming indie film. That one's going to be great, so keep your eyes out for that.